Hello, we're here today to talk about MOSS. Disappointingly not this MOSS, and actually even more disappointingly not this MOSS, but VAT MOSS, MOSS standing for Mini One-Stop Shop. So the way that VAT is paid in the EU on digital services is now changing. Previously and still currently, the way that it works is that the VAT rate is set from the place where you're supplying the service from. So if you're in the UK, it will be currently 20%. The way that it's changing now is that it's going to be set on the location of your customer. The reason why these new rules are being introduced is because there's currently a massive issue with compliance. So for example, Amazon are currently VAT registered in Luxembourg, where the rate's only 15%. And when they sell an ebook, for example, through Kindle to you in the UK, they're only paying the 15% to Luxembourg. What they should be doing under the current rules, which are called VAT on electronic services, or VOS, is registering for in every single place where they supply customers. But they're not doing that, and the result is a massive VAT gap, which is estimated to be around 177 billion euros. So who's affected by the new rules? It's actually quite a lot of people. We're estimated around 34,000 small businesses will be affected. There's a sort of 5-step checklist to see whether you're going to be affected, whether it applies to you. So number one is whether you supply a digital service. This is either broadcasting, telecoms, or e-services. So that's stuff like if you sell ebooks, for example, or if you are a game or app developer and you sell your apps through your own website. So there's been some confusion over what actually constitutes a digital service. It's important to remember that the rules only apply to digital products themselves, so things that you can download and consume through a device. So for example, if you're making your own stuffed bears and selling them online through your own website, that doesn't count because the product itself is a bear, it's not digital. It's also worth noting that personal services don't count. So if you use, for example, one of the freelance websites and you're providing a graphic design service or some sort of marketing consultancy service, that doesn't count either because it's not an actual digital product. The second is whether you sell it for money, so it's any amount of money. That's the crucial thing. There's no threshold. It can be as low as 50p, you'll still have to register, you'll still have to pay the VAT under these new rules. The third is if you're selling it to consumers opposed to businesses. So the way that is worked out under these new rules is if you are given a VAT number by the person you're selling to, then they're a business and you're not caught by these rules. But if there is no VAT number, then it's just assumed that they're a consumer, so you're going to have to pay. Fourth criteria is that it's a cross-border EU sale, so anyone outside of your EU member state within the 28 EU countries. And number 5 is that it's not sold through a marketplace. So that's if you, for example, sell through the Play Store, if you're making an app, or through Kindle, if you've got an ebook, then that's counted as a B2B sale. And that means that the company that's providing the marketplace service will pay the VAT instead of you. So how is MOSS, the Mini One-Stop Shop, going to help? Well, basically there are 2 options for you. You don't have to use MOSS. You can just register for VAT in every single location in the EU where you sell your services to, but obviously that is a massive pain, and unless you just have one country which you're dedicated to supplying to, then it's just not going to be feasible. So the Mini One-Stop Shop is, as it sounds, a one-stop shop for you paying your VAT. You register in a single EU member state, usually your home state, and you pay all the VAT that you're due to pay to them, and then they deal with converting it into the relevant currency and distributing it to the member states. So the reason why these new rules are a bit controversial is that there's no threshold at all. If you adhere to those 5 criteria that I just mentioned, then you're going to have to register to pay VAT even on the smallest amount that you sell. So crucially, what is it that you need to do as a small business owner now to comply with these new rules? Well, first of all, in order to make sure that you know for sure where your consumer is and what location they're in so you can pay the correct rate, it's good to start collecting more information from your customers. You'll be required to keep 2 at least of the following pieces of information: the billing address that they've used, the IP address from the device that they've bought the service from, the location of their bank, the area code of their SIM card, the area code of their landline, or any other information that might suggest where their location is. You're going to have to start changing your terms and conditions, perhaps, to make sure that part of the sale is that they have to supply that information to you. So when are these changes coming into effect? Well, the official date is the 1st of January 2015, and you'll have to make sure that all your terms and conditions are updated so that you can start paying VAT in this new way from then. However, I would advise you keep up to date online with all the developments, because there is an ongoing discussion between small businesses and the HMRC as to how these rules are going to be implemented in the UK, purely because it has such a massive effect on businesses.